at Bhagwan's lotus feet, respected elders, brothers and sisters. You know, this entire trip has been a learning experience for all the three of us. Initially, as a child, I used to think that, most Indian families have a lot of children. Like, for example, my grandmother had 8 brothers and sisters. And it would be so difficult for me to even remember all my cousins' names, all my aunts and uncles, and the entire family tree. I would feel, why is this that they have such huge families that they complicate things. And I remember one time I told my mother, I think there would be a day when I would be traveling, probably in a bus, and I would be seated to one of my cousins, and I wouldn't even know. I would be seated next to him or her, and I wouldn't even know that I'm related to them. Because this family tree is so huge that I would never get it right. Today, I think Swami has so beautifully expanded my family. All of you have become a part of my life with just a few days. And what is this thing that has brought us so close? Something that has, just crossed every possible relation. Because if you look at it, even if you want to call somebody your just an acquaintance, you would wait for a couple of months just to say that you know somebody. It would take you a while, right? And here, as we walked out of the airport, when we landed at Trinidad, we just had a group of people waiting to, welcome us. And so beautifully, it was just one word, Sairam. And that's it. Everybody started hugging and, welcome this, that. And we didn't feel also that we've traveled halfway across the world. We just felt that it was, meeting a group of people who we knew for many years. So it's just an extended family that I feel has been shown to me so beautifully by Bhagwan, and I thank him for that. And I thank all of you for making this trip so beautiful. In fact, one of the sisters here was telling us the other day, it's not just that you have been brought here to teach us. There could be some lessons that while interacting with us, you would understand that you have to pay attention to that. So I'm sure there is a lot of learning for all the three of us. And definitely all of us will be improving, because they say that life is a learning experience. So I guess we'll keep learning. We've learned a lot from everybody here. And a lot of times when we speak things, we know that it is something that we have to work upon in our own lives. Now, coming back to what was being discussed till now, they were talking about building a relationship with Bhagwan, keeping God as your closest friend. Now there are times when you may feel that you can share everything with your friend. You think that a person is your closest friend, your best friend, and you think you can share everything with him or her. But sometimes when it comes to something about your personal life, like for instance, it's something about your parent, you may not really be sure about whether you can share it with somebody whom you call even your best friend. A similar thing had happened, I remember when I was in school, and it was a practice then. I was studying in the primary school at Puttaparthi, and although we used to get several chances where we could talk to Bhagwan directly, because in those years, it was in the 90s, and there would be lots of occasions where we could talk to him directly. But even then, one of our teachers had started this practice that she would prepare, she had beautifully made a box in which she had, one slit right on the top. And she would tell us, she would give us slips of paper, like a very small slip of paper, and she would say, write your problem, if you have any, drop it into the box. You don't really have to go to Swami with every single problem of yours. Once you drop that into your box and place it on the altar, it's taken care of. So, the number of, the chits, there won't be too many, but once in a while, I know because we used to discuss, is there something that you told today? And then I remember a few of us, there was one time where there would be some very small prayers, like there was one particular girl who used to be, bothered by, because she was very tiny and skinny, she would say, there was a bunch of boys who would keep bothering her all the time. So we were like, what, about 6 years of age. But back then, you always wanted to, have the last word in every fight. So there would be prayers like, let that fat boy have a fracture or things like that. Of course, Swami never answered that. But there was this one friend of mine, she was an only child. And she had the first year when she went back after staying in hostel for about 6 months, when she went back home for the vacation, she found that something was not right at home. Her parents, that is her mother and father, were having problems. At that age, she didn't understand what it was, but she didn't like, because no child wants to see their parents fighting. So she had written on a slip of paper, Swami, I love my mother and father. I want both of them to be with me. And she had no clue where it was going, but that's what she had written and she had dropped it into the box. And that was about it. After that, she had several interviews because her grandfather was a lecturer in the university. So she used to be called in for an interview, Swami used to speak to her, etc. But she never raised this problem to Bhagwan because she felt that she had already raised it in that chit which she had put into the box and which she had placed in the altar. Coming to probably 15 years after that, she got married, she settled down, she had a family of her own, and she was blessed with a son. Everything was perfect in her life. That's what she felt. And then she got news, because she was settled abroad, she was settled in the States. She got news from India, that's where her parents were, that all these years we've been managing, but now we've decided to separate. Now to her, it was not good news obviously, but then think of it, all through those years when she needed her parents, they were both there for her. And she had never voiced it to them, nor had she voiced it physically to Bhagwan. It was just her faith that, when the teacher said, place your problem in front of him on that slip of paper and it will be taken care of, she had believed it, implicitly followed what was told, and left it at that. After all these years, during all those years when she needed them, they were there for her. And surprisingly, I would say it's a miracle that every year we used to have vacations for twice every year. Once would be the summer vacation, that is of 2 months, and then there would be the winter holidays, would be about 10 to 15 days. And both the times during the vacations, somehow her parents wouldn't be together. Meaning her father would be called away on business, so he would be there only for the weekends, or her mother would be away from home because of work, and eventually they wouldn't really fight because just one day in a week they're together, so they won't really fight, and she never had any problem again. Now some of us may ask, so she actually prayed that she wanted both of them, but eventually they separated. So was that prayer really answered? Does it make sense that we go to God with a problem because He's just delaying it, right? He's not actually solving the problem. Swami used to say that God is, when He gives us grace, it is like a morphine injection. A painkiller which is taken, it doesn't cure what you're going through, but it gives you some sort of relief till eventually that injury is cured. Similarly, this girl, when she needed him the most, she just went to him with the problem, and then Swami so beautifully, he made sure that she never had to go through that experience again of seeing her parents, having this sort of an argument between them. And after all these years, when she's well settled, when she has her own family, when she has everything that she needs. At this point, if she is told that her parents aren't together, she's still able to take it. Because now she's grown and physically she's able to take care of a lot of things for herself. And yeah, mentally also she has become, more mature. And this is the time when Swami wanted her to, take care of this aspect too, that she has to deal with something that is going through. Because I'm sure a lot of us here believe in karma. I've heard this from the time you come here. In fact, back in India, I never heard anybody talk about karma as many times as here in Trinidad. So probably it was her parents' karma that they had to have this separation. But then, right now she is strong, and that is what is important. When we think that we have God, when we say that He is the one that we are closest to, that this is the relationship that we can rely on, and this is somebody whom we can just bank on entirely without thinking of anything, because He will always be there to back you. Don't think that we have to physically have that, we should be able to talk to Him physically or communicate to Him in some form. Because we have these experiences where people have just believed that this is my way of communicating to Him, and He has ensured that He has responded. I have a small prayer for Bhagwan. सब कुछ दिया आपने, मैं भेंट करूं क्या नाथ, दाता मेरे आप हो, मेरे साई राम. The meaning of this prayer is, Bhagwan, you are the one who has given me everything. What can I give you? What is it that I can offer back to you? And I think this is the only thing that Swami used to ask of all of us, that is to spread the love that we receive from Him each and every day. I think we can get back to the discussion. Thank you, Sai Alumni.